Welcome to Tim Boyes, who's the Chief Executive of the Birmingham Education Partnership, BEP. Tim, do you want to start by saying a little bit about the BEP and what it does?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. It's great to be with you, and very happy to explain a bit about us. Birmingham Education Partnership has been in action now for 6 years. It was formed as a huge collective action by head teachers in Birmingham. About 300 of us formed the partnership, and our kind of mantra was that we want a deeply good education for every child in Birmingham, not just academically, but also in terms of the social and the civic, that we really see the importance of place at a time when the education world is more fragmented with academies and with national chains and with different lines of accountability. We wanted to really work on the idea that it takes a whole city to raise a child, and to find ways of connecting key partners into the world of Birmingham schools. That was quite a long time ago. Since then, we've grown and we've developed different ways of working. Our principal activity is in a contract with the City Council, because we're responsible for school improvement in Birmingham. And that's, if you like, the really most serious end of what we do. We also have a contract with the Clinical Commissioning Group, so the CCG, and we're quite active in the world of mental health, but also at the Careers and Enterprise Company. And that would be maybe an area that the Chamber would be, or some of the folk around the Chamber would be more aware of, where we're seeking to strengthen the links between employers and schools for the kind of pursuit of the Gatsby benchmarks and trying to get young people into the workplace. So we're a charity. We do some serious work around school improvement, but we do lots of things that idealistically would want to make Birmingham a great place to be educated, and really help to guarantee something of an entitlement for Birmingham children to have a good education, which is why we end up concerned about IT in the pandemic.
Well, exactly right. And this came about because certainly I'd seen the BBC Midlands programme, which dealt with the issue of the unmet need for laptops within the Birmingham, certainly inner city areas and the Birmingham city region. And we at the Chamber really wanted to do something and try and publicise and highlight these issues. But can you tell us currently what the situation is on the ground?
Yeah, so the situation is, obviously with schools in lockdown, that we've got maybe 250,000 school children in Birmingham who are, the vast majority are at home. There are more children in school now than in the first lockdown, but in an average secondary school in Birmingham, that might be 30 or 40 children in school, and maybe 800, 900, 1,000 at home. So a lot of children obviously are at home, and sensibly the government and Ofsted have made it clear that schools are expected to provide a full education for children whilst they're at home, and the assumption is that will be done largely through the digital kind of route. And so the great news is that, compared with the first lockdown, schools have really got their act together. And so there are many secondary schools in Birmingham that are doing nearly all their teaching, full timetable, live, with live lessons, and where they're not live lessons, with really good online substitutes for a full curriculum. It's harder. The younger you go in age group, down in 6 and 7 year olds, need more support accessing learning online. But still, the chance to see your teacher, the chance to actively interact with people and to see your classmates is as important socially for mental health and morale as it is for making progress in your learning. And so infant head teachers are talking to me passionately about the need for that digital connectivity, as much as secondary heads. And so the great news is schools have got their acts together and have really sorted out how to deliver a digital education. The also good news is that the government have distributed hundreds of thousands of devices to schools with high levels of children who come from poorer backgrounds. So we talk about pupil premium children, disadvantaged children. Traditionally, we would have talked about children on free school meals. They're the same sort of category. And we know that schools have now successfully received a lot of computers from the government. The problem is
700,000, is that right?
So the government would say something like 700, 750,000. They think they needed 1.3 million.
Right.
And so the fact that they're pleased to have got so many out does indicate they know that the need is even greater.
Yeah.
The reality on the ground is that heads, are feeling like the mountain is getting taller.
Yeah.
Not that we're getting further up the mountain, that the summit seems to be getting further away. And that's because we are dependent on that technology more than ever. Yeah. And if you think about families with a large number of children in them, we might be celebrating the fact that we've now got broadband connectivity or, good Wi-Fi into a home. We might be glad that they've now got a good device in a home. But if there are 3 or 4 children in that home, it's going to be the older child from the secondary school potentially who's on the device, and younger children might be missing out completely. And in a home with 2 or 3 secondary age children in, that's a real crisis if all of them need to be on their own lessons the whole time because lessons are all live. So in reality, despite great work by schools to develop materials and alternatives and to distribute paper packs and all the rest of it, and despite what the BBC are doing with broadcasting educational materials, even so, really the need and the gap between what's being offered and what's required and what children can access has probably grown, not shrunk. And right now, if a head teacher chooses to respond by saying we're going to use a load of our school budget to go and buy 50 Chromebooks from PC World, they'll find there aren't any in stock. And so right now, even if you're a powerful, wised up buyer, there just isn't the supply of devices at scale in the supply chain. And so we've got what I would describe as a very, very real crisis where every day a fortunate child is accessing a fairly full curriculum, and maybe sibling number 2 or 3 in a family from a poorer background is still not accessing hardly anything, and that's very serious.
It was we had a conversation with Jonathan Chew from the City Council, I think last week, and he was saying that there was a lead time into new laptops ordered by the council of about 3 months, anyways, isn't it? Until
that's right.
Maybe the end of March before these new laptops can come through.
That's right.
So I guess that leads us into the importance of whether or not we can use reconditioned laptops to try and distribute those. So talk us around that kind of issue.
So the great news is, and it's fortunate for me, one of the reasons why BEP is in this space is because as lots of people move from Windows 7 or wherever we were to Windows 10, that we were aware that even around the education community, there were a lot of devices becoming redundant. And the really good thing is that it's quite easy to turn those into Chromebooks. Right. So you can take an old laptop, up to 10 years old. It doesn't matter what the kind of operating system on the laptop was, and wipe it and install a completely new operating system that we get for free or for very little. There's a cost in doing the cleaning and doing the loading up. And we can take old machines and turn them into Chromebooks. The newer the machine, the more capable the machine, the better. And so since March, we've been alive to this fact, and so we've been busily trying to find, to beg, steal, borrow every old laptop we can get our hands on, and with the help of a great set of partners, as a collective, actually lots of people in Birmingham have come together to help us do this. We've been recycling computers in their hundreds, not in their thousands, but we are now looking to get up into the thousands. Because that's the level of need that still exists. I mean, interestingly, Steve, just now I've received a fair large sample survey that says out of a few hundred school children from right across the city who've been sampled just at secondary, 10% of those children still haven't got a device that they can learn with reliably at home. So, 250,000 children, if you said it was 10%, that's 25,000 children potentially without a device. And the bigger
connectivity issues as well, presumably.
Exactly, thank you. The bigger problem, I was going to say, and it's bigger because it's a more expensive problem in some ways to solve, is that of broadband connectivity. There are homes where the only connectivity is maybe mum's mobile phone contract, and very quickly that data is burnt out, and that certainly won't support multiple learners. And so, whether it's special units that are giving people a kind of a temporary router in their home, or whether it's by boosting mum's data allowance for hotspotting, we're as concerned about getting data into homes as we are about getting devices into homes. Both the needs that we're addressing, but we are really aware that the government schemes have kind of got us to the stage where most homes have got a device, and there is an emergent government scheme to help with data, but we are still acutely aware that even with both of those, there are maybe 10% of our children who haven't got a device at home that they need right now.
Okay, so in terms of the business community, how can the business community help?
So thanks to the support of the BBC, we had good coverage a week or so ago, and have had lots of offers of donations of an old laptop. By comparison, at the same sort of time, Paribas Bank gave us 95 or 100 laptops, and that's what we need. We need a batch, because that's much more efficient, and it begins to address the need. So we are grateful for receipt of any laptops. If they're less than 10 years old and we can take them and they're not broken and cracked, if they work, we can turn them into a useful device for a child. Ideally with a camera on, but we're grateful for any device, but devices are what we really need. And if there was a company that had just replaced its machines or was in the process of replacing its machines, and the old ones hadn't been taken away or scrapped or whatever, then we are very keen to hear from them. I'm conscious that these requests have been made differently all around the place, and so if somebody had hoped to give some to a particular school, we can help with that. We'll be flexible in the arrangements, but we are hungrily trying to gather in any devices that the business community might have. Equally, Steve, we need cash. The cost of, all the machines are being professionally cleaned, thoroughly cleaned and stripped down, and we can prove that if donors need that proof. And then we're loading them up with the operating system to run as Chromebooks. And we're also providing a year's connectivity where that's needed. And all of those things have a cost. So cash is useful, devices are useful, both are gratefully received.
So what we're ideally looking for is businesses who could denote in scale laptops to you, or tablets. And how do they go about doing that? Is there a central location, drop-off point in the region, or how do they actually physically do it?
So just say our real desire is for laptops. We can't do the same thing with an iPad, an old iPad. It's laptops we're after. Microsoft or tablets that run Android systems we could use as well. And basically our website has got all the details on. We will collect devices. We've been using a central drop-off place. I'm very pleased to say that Birmingham City Council have just said that we could use one of their central locations as a drop-off place. So we've got central to the city places for dropping devices off, or we can arrange collection if they're around Birmingham. We will do everything possible to make it practical and easy for people to donate devices and for us to get them safely somewhere where they can be wiped. Okay,
and in terms of donating, is there a page, or is there details? Are these all on the BEP website?
Yeah, so www.bep.education is our website. Search for BEP and it'll come up quite easily, and all the information is on there. We have a Just Giving page for companies or people who want to give in a larger way, then we've received checks and we can work out payment in other ways. So yeah, we're ready to receive donations through a variety of channels, and the kind of the practicalities of recording a donation of a device or offering us devices are all there on the website.
Okay, well, that's very helpful. So here at the Chamber, we will do everything we possibly can do to publicise this and get it out to our members and the business community so that they know about how they can donate either money or laptops, particularly if you've got several laptops. Logistically, that makes much more sense than picking up the odd laptop. But Tim, look, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you so much for talking to me this afternoon. And I wish you the best of luck with your endeavours. Thank you.
Steve, thank you. And I'd like to thank all the folk who are watching and anybody who might just consider helping. It will make a real significant difference to a Birmingham child. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tim.